Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Cardcraft. Thanks for joining me for class again today. I'm really loving this project and I'm so happy you're all working along with me. It's been great to get the comments and all the rest, so thank you. So today's lesson is, as I said last week, Thursday, whenever, our coffee filters. Now, I did mention, hang on a moment, and I'll grab them again. As I mentioned last time with coffee filters, you don't see a great deal of them in Australia. That's where I am, if you couldn't tell from the accent. And I know in America you girls use a lot of coffee filters for things, bits and pieces, but I'd never played with them before, hadn't come across them. Finally came across this in our supermarkets, either Coles or Woolies, and they're 40 filter papers, just your normal standard coffee filters. I'm assuming that's what a coffee filter looks like normally. $3. So they're a bargain. They're worth having in your stash just for the odd times that you use them. And they're so easy to play with. So I thought that's what we'd do today. So we've got our coffee filter. It is a flip because that's what I want lots of in this book. Just decorated on the front. On the back, we've got a little pocket. We still have our pocket, of course, which is the coffee filter. And we've got a little dangle. So nice and easy. And I've just finished off the page with a straight belly band. Hang on a moment. Let's see if I've got a tag. So that, something will fit in here when you get around to decorating and doing your tags and all the rest. We're not going to do that in this series. I just want to show you how to do each thing. It's up to you how you want to decorate it later on, as in with all these sorts of pages. So that's today's, which is Sundays. Yes. So Thursday, and I'll show you again at the start so that you know what's coming up, because I tend to forget it at the end. And I'm still working on Thursdays. This is Thursday's page. I'm still working on this little multi-pocket side tuck. You can see because it's paper clipped in. But the main thing for this one is our multi-envelope flip. So it'll flip over. It'll flip over. And you can see I'm still decorating all this. It'll flip over. And then it flips over. So it's a great way to use all our envelopes. And it's just one of the other. So we've done our standard basic one envelope flip. This is our next multi-envelope flip. And then later on we'll do one with completely different sizes that'll flip up and sideways and all the rest, just so that we step them along. So that's Thursday's class. Right, going back to today's. So what you're going to need, as I said before, is some paper big enough to cover your coffee filter front and back. I've then got a doily, a coffee stained doily on there as well. A little bit of book page, because this is me. Something to decorate here, and just some scraps or something that you want for your flip. Okay, so I'm going to set that one aside. If I can find a space, we'll get out today's book. As I said before, one of these books will be given away at the end. We'll work out how to do that later on, and the other one will, of course, go off to market. So here's our book we're working on. Last week's and ready for today's. I've already covered this page, and I've covered it with the Witchcraft Do You Do Pages Pack, set 1, page 4. So that will be both sides so that they flow along. Okay, so I just thought that was easier clipping it there, then you can see which ones that they are. And I'll have the link to the digital pages for Witchcraft Do You Do down below in the description box. So here's my little envelope of goodies for what I require today. So starting off, what I'm going to need is my coffee filter. Now, I've done mine. I'm assuming all coffee filters are the same. They've got a little bit of a tab here. I've done that as the front. Okay, it's up to you whether you do it that way or that way, but I've done mine with the tab at the front. What I'm going to need to do to start with is fold along this bottom seam. So this bottom seam is going to be our flip. This one I'm leaving in because it gives a nice solid area to put a hole in to do a dangle, which is the other reason why I did it this way and not that way. So all we're going to do is just fold this one over right along where that actually sits on there, and then using your bone folder or something heavy like a ruler or a butter knife or something like that, just give it a nice crease. Okay, so that it's sitting like so. This is what we want to cover to start with. Now I've grabbed a sheet of scrapbook paper that I've had sitting around. Love it, but it's one of those things that, you know, you love so much you won't use. But it is only just a single-sided one, so because it's come from a paper pad, which means that it's a little bit thinner, which probably works really well for this anyway. What I want to do is I want to cover the front, so it will be adhered on like so, okay, and just up there. So what we'll do to start with is we will glue the front of our coffee filter. Just grabbing my glue book and some glue. All right, and all of this can be glued. Yes, I'm still with the blue glue because I haven't been in and got any of the other one yet. But I'm finding it is sticking. It was just a figment of my imagination that it wasn't quite sticking. So, I don't know. And that's what I used to use all the time. But, you know, we change and we move on, or we find something that we think is even more awesome. But, yeah, no, it sticks. So, going over these, you'll find that it will clog up. But that's fine. But we want to make sure that it is definitely. So if you want to, just pat it on so that it goes in and out of all of those little areas. Right. This one can be stuck on. And I know with this one, because it's got a hole in the top, so I know I'm up the right way. I need to make sure that it's not going past the bottom. And I'm going to adhere it right up to that edge, because that saves me having to cut it, doesn't it? I'm just going to flip that over, and then I can push all this down so that it's nicely adhered and flattened out as we go. Okay, just like so. Right up to that. I'll give that a good crease back down here again. Right, so that can be cut out. I'm going to use my big scissors because I find they're easier. Oh, and they're here. So many scissors. And just very carefully cut all the way around your coffee filter. Right, to make this easier, what I'm going to do is just chop out here, like so. Then I can put that one away, because I'll pull it back out later on. I'm going to go down this side. Oh, I'm no good with scissors. Try not to cut the edges off. Around my corners. Ooh. Go around your little tab. If you want to, you can cut that off if you like. It's up to you. It depends on how well you feel you want to cut it. If you don't cut it great, just chop it off. So much easier. So much easier. All right, going around, almost done. Sorry, girls. There we go. Didn't empty my bin. Right, so I'm going to ink around this one. Just like so. Down. And decorating wise, as I said before, where's my little... So I've just used in this one, and I want that one and that one. And I think I want that one. And I want some of that because I have to have lace. I know, right? So these are, again, from Which Craft Do You Do? And that's that mini journal kit that I use all the time. I just love it. I find that I can use it for so many things. I want a straight edge down here, so I'm just going to grab my knife and I'm just going to follow along that line, because this is one of the pages from the mini journal. So they're nice and small little prints, and I'm going to go that one. And I want straight at the top. I've already got that. And then this bit I'm going to tear, okay? I'm going to go that way so that I've got no white showing on here, and I can just tear that any way I like, just to give it a little bit of rough edge. And then I want to ink that edge, but remember I want to go that way with it so that it gives that burnt look, especially with this one, because then it'll give a burnt map look. It's been an old map, it's been caught in a fire, whatever else. All right, so there's that one. My little butterfly, which is this one, I want to tear all the way along so that the whole thing is torn, but not quite as much, only just torn. Just makes it a little bit smaller. If you find you're struggling with your fingers tearing this, I'll show you. Just move that over. I'll go on to that. Use a water brush, okay? Make sure you get some water out of it. There we go. And then just draw a bit of a wonky line. Okay, give that a little bit of a fold, and then what you'll find is that this will tear down for you so much easier. So if you're struggling with your fingers, or don't have a nail to lift it up or anything else, or you've got it so close to the edge but you want a little bit of a torn edge, just do that. Okay, use a little bit of water. The water will soften the fibres and you end up with that lovely torn look anyway. Always wise to have a water brush. If you don't have a water brush, the ones I use are from Uniquely Creative. If you don't have a water brush, little pot of water, little small fine paintbrush will work just as well. Right, so inking around those edges. I love when I use my water brush too, and when I ink straight away, it's still a little bit damp, and the distress ink that I use reacts a little bit differently with it. So I get more of that really straight edge with the inking instead of that right over on the edge, because it picks up the water straight away. Right, so we're going to just work out where we want these guys to go. So I'm liking that. He fits in there. He fits in there. You can make your butterfly smaller if you want to. I want a number because I always want numbers, and I want small scissors for this one. Put that one back in there. I'm sure I'll use it for something else. Trimming around him. Once again, ink him up so that he matches with the rest, and we've got rid of that little white line that's around it, especially if you're a bit of a wobbly cutter. It'll make it look as though it's meant to be a bit wobbly. This one's going to go here, and I want a little bit of lace. Love this lace. It's one that I've picked up from an op shop, and it only needs to go from there to there. So we'll cut that, but I'll get my sharp scissors that will cut lace properly. Otherwise I'm gnawing away at it. And we'll trim that edge off. Right. So all of that can be adhered down now. Nice and easy. So back with our glue. Put those big scissors away. Grab out my glue book. This one we realised will go down fairly soon, but we need that lace to go under here. Okay, so what we're going to do is use our lace glue first and just work our way up with our layers. So I know it needs to be about there. How about I undo the glue? That'll help, won't it? Yay! And it's cold here. Oh, hasn't the weather changed? I don't know. If you're in Australia, hasn't the weather changed? Just bang! Almost overnight. It's cold of a morning, coldish of an evening, but the mornings are just so cold. Oh, I think, daylight savings will be finishing soon. Well, when you see this, daylight savings will have finished. So hopefully it's not going to be quite so dark of a morning again, and we get that little bit of daylight before we all go to work. But, the mornings have changed so much. Right, he's down. I want this one in next, and I know he's going down till he fits in there like that. So we'll just glue this one, and we'll start on the back. So there's our glue. Pick you up, and I want you down there like so it's right down towards the bottom. Fairly straight. I think that's straight. How's it look for you? You're right above it. I'm not. You could probably tell easier than me. Our little butterfly. Alright. Oh, got you. Straighten that out. And that, I know, is going on the edge of my lace. There we go. Stick that down, and then all I've got left is my little number. So quick and easy to decorate, so that I'm still seeing that beautiful paper that I've got underneath it. And those ones I want over all 3 layers, like that. Done. Nice and easy, quick and easy. Gives it a little bit of something going on the page, but you can still see this beautiful paper that we've got. Now I'm going to use that same paper on the back, but I'm going to cover most of it with a doily. So it's up to you whether you use the same paper or whether you pick something that you know you don't worry if you don't see all of it. So I'm going to pull this one back out again. So this one will need to go on that side. Okay, I'm going to turn that over. And he will be adhered down like that. Again, we don't want to go on this flap. So it's going to be somewhere like that. We need to make sure that it is all the way in there. So I'm going to glue this one down. I'm just going to get that glue off there. Turn that over. But we don't want to go on that, remember? All right, so same thing. Same, but different. Going out to our edges. Now, with these ones, what I noticed, and I'm assuming they're all the same, I don't know, it's not quite as far out as that side. So what I did with it, here we go. It's got a scrap piece, off-cut scrap piece, and just sat that in so that I don't adhere and put glue on the back of my front cover. Okay? It's always wise just to have a few scraps like that sitting around for just that reason. Especially when you're doing envelopes and things like that. So once again, we need to make sure that we've got all the way up into these little grooves. Right. Back down there. We can always touch it up again with some white glue. Holding this out, sitting it down. We need to take it in just a little bit to make sure that that will fold. So I'm just going to sit it lightly and make sure that that will fold under it, which it does, and then press it down, because that still gives me time to move it if I need to move it out a little bit. Okay, I'll now flatten that one down. So you can see here I've got room for my flap to actually move down. I'll give that a push. Go back over there where it's nice and flat, Kylie. All right, that should be, it's round about where it is. I can feel it going under, and we'll trim that one off the same. Now this one's a little bit different because we've got that section in. So what I'm going to do is just trim off my flat edges to start with. And I'm just going to go, it is on that side from memory. So you can see how it goes in. So I can start round here. And then I'm just going to follow it as a normal curve and go back and deal with it once I'm not dealing with the rest of my paper. Does that make sense? So much easier to do all that when it's a smaller piece that you're cutting around. So straight down. Move that one aside. I want a little bit of it later on. So see this? We need to get into here. And it's up to you what you want to do at the end. But I want my little sharp scissors. These ones are my Uniquely Creative ones. Again, the link for these guys will be in my description box. Now I'm actually an affiliate with, I've got an affiliate with Uniquely Creative. So if you do wish to purchase from, please go through my link that's in my description box, because it's a way of supporting me and my channel. So that would be lovely. Thank you. Don't ask for much. Okay, I'll ink around that one. Probably should have inked that first as well, but the doily will cover a lot of that. Hold this out so that you can ink in here, okay? I'll fold that back a little bit. Yeah, not really. Should have done it prior. Oh, well, you know, these things happen. Right, so this is... No, it's not. I thought I had it upside down. It's all right. It's one of these multi-directional ones, but a lot of it is the right way, and that's what I thought I'd done. So, going to our doily. Now, I've got lots and lots of doilies. I love my doilies because they're like my lace. I've got an oval doily. Now, these, as you can see, are just been coffee stained, but they work really, really well with the coffee filters. So I want it about there. So what I'm going to do with my pencil is mark here. And I'm going to mark down here. This is where it's going to stop. And then what I'm going to do is cut this section out. So again with my big scissors, and you can do it with a knife, you can do it with your trimmer, whatever you find is easiest. Because I've got the pencil line there, I'm just going to go that way. Let's see how I go from that side. Right, there you go. And I've just cut off the lines for where I want it to finish, so we'll double check that one again. Like so. These will be used. These will be used. So sitting this guy back over, sitting your doily down, make sure he's nicely, he could be trimmed up a little bit. Let's have a look. This side can be trimmed off a little bit. And what I'm going to do, that's only going to go to there. I'm just going to fold this up so that it actually finishes on that mark, and we'll cut down that line. We will cut down that line, she says, as she goes everywhere but that line. Like that. And I want a little bit more off that one, didn't I? So if I sit that here, this side is pretty awesome. I'm just going to sit that in there and trim it. Let's see how badly that one will work out. Oh, the pressure of it, I tell you. Right. This time I'm going to ink that edge first. Now I like the colour of those. If I wanted to darken those up just a tad, what I would do would be to use my archival ink and my soft blending brush, and I would just go over like that when it's on the ground table, you know what I mean, just so that it gives it some edge. Because if you're trying to ink it with the normal blending brush, you run the risk of losing all these. Oh, let's just do it. I'll show you what I mean. So, picking up some of that, and then you can just lightly, and we're talking very lightly, there's no pressure at all on that brush, it is just going lightly over each one without pulling them up, tearing them off, which is what you'll quite often do with your sponges. And I'm just following around like so. So what I've now got, see how it's just darkened them a little bit, and that's why I like this colour. It's just a tree branch or a very light, I'm going to say blue-brown. And now I will just wipe that. Move that one over so I don't. I'm going to do my normal inking down the sides so that it matches with the rest. And again, I'm going to be careful there, but right. This whole thing can be glued now. And again, glued into that, like so, but watch that this will still fold. So if you need to, leave it away from the edge a little bit. And I put my glue book on this side, making sure that there's no wet patches on that, turning it over. And again, you will find that you'll need to carefully glue over those. I like them glued, but not necessarily glued all the way down. So what I tend to do is what I was doing with the coffee filter and just putting little bits of glue on them. So we'll get the rest of this done because they are delicate. I'm not a delicate person and I do have to watch myself with these, but I find if I do that, it gives enough glue on the edges. Doesn't matter if they float a bit, but it gives enough glue on the edges just to hold them down, okay, like that. You can see where it comes through, so that'll all need to be wiped. Going that way. Down there. Moving him up as I go. Across there. Very careful. Careful, careful. Grab my scraper. And again, very carefully are we going to wipe this out that way to straighten it up. So you can see with most doilies, you can still see a little bit of the pattern paper that you've got underneath anyway. Right, so now I'm going to get a paper towel and I'm going to work the rest out just by doing the paper towel because I don't want to rip any of that because they are delicate. It's like almost like working with tissue paper and serviettes, napkins, those sorts of things. I'll get that bit out. You'll see where you haven't got it. So I've missed a little bit in there. I'll go back with that with a little bit of normal liquid glue that I can tuck right in under. Right. Okay. So yeah, you can see that in there. So we'll just fix that now before I forget. I could knit your nose, sorry. And we'll get the... Oh no, the glue's going to work. The glue's going to work. Just down there like that. Again, we'll just push that down a little bit. Move it with our fingers. Right. The rest of that is fine. So there's your coffee filter, okay? We can punch a hole in the top of this now that we've got all those layers. So we've got our coffee filter, 2 layers, paper, 3 layers, paper again, 4 layers. So it's nice and thick now. And all I'm going to use is a standard, I don't know, 1/8 punch. I didn't want it too large. And I just want it, you know, somewhere about here. I don't want it too far down because I want a bulb pin in it. So somewhere about there. You don't want it too far up because you don't want it to rip. I'm just going to sit that there. Pop that. As you can see, I don't have a crocodile. I just use cheap punches. There we go. Okay, if you want ink around that, I've got this beautiful Whittle baby one. that I can just go like that, and it gives that hole just a little bit of definition, like so. Right, so that's our coffee filter. Okay, all nicely done. I'm over a little bit there, so we'll just re-ink that just to make it blend in a little bit. Watch where you are, what you're doing. That needs to trim up a little bit, because this is the easiest way to fix it before it's on the page. Okay. Which means that's that one all done. So this guy can start to get stuck. That one's lace that I've finished using now. You can go in my scrap lace bit, move that one, make a little space for yourself. I don't need my bone folder anymore. My punch can go back in the punch box over there. Put the scissors away and those scissors away. Put my blade away. Make a little bit of space. I'm leaving this here just in case there's ink on there. Right, so here's our book. We need our page. Oh, we haven't decorated the back of that, have we? I reckon we could do... No, let's do it while it's nice and flat. Okay, let's do it while it's nice and flat. And all we're doing for that is, again, my little bit of book page, but we'll go that way because I've already got a straight edge here. I'm just going to trim that up there because I need... might go that way. Because I need it to follow these edges. Okay, I'm going to tear from about there. Just meander slowly down your page. I don't want that right on the edge, so I'm going to bring it up there. I'm going to ink all of this. Might actually need some more ink. Give it that nice burnt look. This is just me. You don't need to ink, remember. I just ink. So don't look at it and go, I have to ink. You do you, as Tim says. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that up, set that down and trim. So I do need my scissors. Trim off there, just so I know whereabouts I'm gluing. And the same with that side, like so. Now put the scissors away, Kylie. Make sure your wording is going up the right way. Ink the rest of that, if you're inking. It's too hard to ink in here again later on. Glue that. I like that colour better, but I didn't want to use the next page, and so I just want to be able to turn it over, similar to how we did last week when we were doing the double. All right. I'm just going to turn it that way because I'm a righty. Matching all that up. And that one. Your glue will give you time to move it. You got to move it, move it. Right, there's that one. Just that one. Beautiful. I want, again, it's just an offcut from the Witchcraft Do You Do kit. Don't think I want it that high. I only want it that, and I like this section better. So I'm just going to trim the rest of that off. Set you there. In which case I need that one and that one again. How are we going for time? Let's take it to about there. It's all just by eye. That will make a nice label later on. Trimming off this bit again from the pages in that journal of Witchcraft Do You Do. There's such nice little, great for if you're doing a mini journal. But if you're not, there's nice little ephemera bits, really, because these pages make wonderful little bits for tags and things like that in a standard size journal. This one's going to go in here, like so. We'll just stick you in. Make sure my writing is that way. So we want just the 3 edges. Oop, nearly went off. Nearly went off. Oh. Stick him down anywhere you like, giving yourself room for a tag at the top. Now, my tag was just my leftover bits of that scrapbook paper. So I should have some more of it floating around here somewhere where I've used it, or I'll cut into that other one. There it is. All right. So, what do I like? I like it all. I like it all. I like this section. I like that. I've still got strips to do for my belly band. But I like this bit. I'm going to see if I can get that bit in. Up here. So we're just going to sit that on so that I can get a straight edge. If you're using your trimmer, so much better, so much easier. And I'll need my big ruler. Take it to that. That. I'm using this side of my ruler to gauge where I am because this is still a bit large for this little mat. All right, set that one aside for my belly band. I want this section. Do I want that section? It's a woman's prerogative to be able to change her mind. Measure how long you've got. I've got about 1 3/4 I can make this tag. That mason fits in there nicely, and I'm not going to get a great deal of that. So let's go the mason. Yes? So 1 3/4 will give me that and that. So not far over past the M for the mason. I can always trim it down further, but I can't add it back on, can I? So much easier if I just use my trimmer at this stage. You can see quickly what I'm doing. So I want this side taken off, and I wanted it about 1 3/4, I said, didn't I? I reckon that'll actually work. Like that. Let's just check. It's a little bit tight. We can trim a little bit off, and I reckon we can trim it off that end to make this more even. So just a little bit. It's not going to need much. And, you know, just a little bit. That fits in nicely. I don't want it that long, so I'm going to trim off a little bit there. Let's just take the scissors to it. Oh, that's a bit dangerous, isn't it? That's a better size. I like that size. But what I want to do to my edges in here, I've got a little tiny hole punch. So I'm just going to sit those in and nip out my corners. You can measure and mark all of those. If you're that way inclined, feel free. Otherwise, just, you know, chomp them. But do it this way so that you can see how much is going in. So you should be able to see all of that. And then what you've got is a cute little tag that is a journal card if you wish, because this was done on single-sided paper. If it wasn't done on single-sided paper, I would have popped some copy paper or something like that underneath it. How's that? Okay, so again and I lost my number. It was sitting beside me and I dropped it on the floor. So we'll grab another little number to sit. Oh, my whole box nearly fell off there. That was lucky. I've got a box beside me for just this album, and it all sits in there, and both albums sit in there during unfilming times. Something light, but I don't want the same number as last time, which was that one. Let's go that one. And again, this is from the mini journals kit as well. But yeah, so I've got a box that I just pull up onto my desk when I'm working on this one, and then it gets popped on the floor when I'm working on the next journal, depending on what I'm working on each time, depends on which box is sitting on my desk. But this one's starting to get a little bit tilted, and it nearly all went on the floor. That would have been fun. Why have I not chopped there? That one. And that one. There we go. We'll sort that. So they're all in their little orders with digitals and scrapbook scrapbook paper scraps and envelopes and things like that. I just want that one sitting in there like that. How easy, really. So he's done. Now we'll attach this guy and then we'll put on our dangle. It's easier, I find, to put on things like dangles once it's actually on. I'm going to need tweezers for that, just so that I can work out where I want it. And I want that off to the side. You can put it wherever you like. A little bit of lace behind it, a little bit of tulle, a little bit of, I don't know, cheesecloth. Look at that, I haven't used any cheesecloth. Oh! Right, this is this one. He's going to go there. And I want this above the page, okay? So with this one, this is going to be adhered here, like so. So if he goes in, I want him to sit above the page. I don't know if I'm high enough up. You can see where the page runs to. So I don't want him to drop below, but I do want him above the page. This coffee filter will fit. You know, you can see he is a little bit higher than the page anyway. So I want him up just a little bit further to make it look like I wanted it above the page. Does that make sense? It is up to you. So if this one goes here, that's all going to fit and can be trimmed. I want this to sit about there. So this is about where I want him to go. So we're going to attach this one first this time. Okay? So that it's all one piece. You can attach your coffee filter to the page first and then attach this, but I thought that's the way we've been doing it. Let's just show you a different way, just for kicks. Does that make sense? It's always good to know a couple of different ways, because if you come across something that doesn't quite work the way you want it to, then you can just do it the other way. Sorry, I'm concentrating. So I've got a little piece of double-sided tape. I'm just going to put that down there, like so. And I've just had a thought. I haven't inked that page. And it's very hard once it's in to ink. And I want that inking to be cohesive throughout the album. So we'll just do those two. This one should be the right size. I'm going to trim a little bit off that, because normally what we've been doing is taking it from here and going over. This will fit, but I don't want it to run the risk of just slightly folding up. So I'm just going to take just a nibble And I mean just a nibble. Let's have a look. Just a nibble. Have a look at that one again. Up there. Down there. Fold that over. Yep. Right, so see what I mean by just a nibble? Just going to ink that one because the bottom one will be trimmed up anyway. Right, so as we were, you know where that's got to go because I've already got my double-sided tape sitting there, haven't I? So this one's now going to go in here, like that, down there, and in there, nice and easy. So this one we're going to adhere down. We know that the flap will work and that it's not going to stick out anywhere. I've torn that. See, and this is what happens when you tear double-sided tape. Instead of cutting it, it makes it harder to actually peel off. So if you cut it, it gives it a sharper edge to peel off. So heat on. All right. Now we're going to ink this one. So we'll pop these ones away again because we'd cleaned up and then we ruined it. And we're almost done. Just turning that round that way because, as I said before, I'm a righty and I'd much rather just going to grab this and pop it in so that I can see where my page is and so that I don't ink over the rest of my book. How are we going for time? 45 minutes. Beautiful. You can see that I've inked between these pages again as well. So if I don't, from now on, I'll have my papers down if they need to be down. And if I don't need the washi tape to fix them, I will just ink between, just to give them a little bit of texture and a little bit of difference in the look. But that's just me. You might want the straight book page. You might want to continue with the washi tape regardless and just put all that in. All right, that's this one. I'm going to leave that sitting there just for the moment so that I can see exactly where this corner is. Am I in shot? Yep. So I'm holding the rest up. I'm going to that corner. I'm following down my book page, but I'm still holding the rest up as I go. Like so. Now I can flatten this guy out. And now I'll pull that out so that I don't run the risk of getting any more glue on it. Opening my flap. Flattening this out. Make sure you go right into that seam. Down. Closing that. Turning it back over and trimming this off. Straight down like that. On the wrong way, but we'll see how we go. Like that. Beautiful. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? I need to ink the bottom. Like so. And we're going to do a little dangle. Now, our dangle is just, for me, I'm using a bulb pen. I've got in my drawer here. Didn't want to get that out beforehand because I knew damn well I'd lose it. All right, back into this. Here's my little section of bits. That's that one. So I've just got a selection of fabrics here. Some are pre-stamped on. A little bit of broderie on glaze. It's just what you want in there. You don't want it too big. But you want it to be able to be seen, I suppose, would be the best word for it. Now, you can fray these as much or as little as you like if you want to do this sort of thing. Okay. And it's just a matter of doing that if you want to fray them. And I like this one, so I want that one on the top, actually. I've got that one. I'm thinking I want to fray some edges on that side. And usually if I'm fraying my edges, what I'll do is I'll get and get my awl that I use for when I'm sewing my signatures in, and I'll just go like that. Okay, because then it's easier to pull them out, and it doesn't, you know, when you get too many of them, they will start to pull the rest of your piece together. Give it some love, as I call it. All right, you want to make it look like it's, you know, had a tough life, or had a love life. So we're just going to keep pulling all those up. I find it's easier doing that. Take a few more off this to give it that nice soft look. Right. So we've got that one. We've got that one. And we've got that one. I love that one. And that's all it is. Okay, you can stagger these. You can do them any way you like. Your bulb pin, we'll just go straight in here, like so. Pop them on the pin. Just going to make a hole for those to start with. Just so that I can get them in. There they are. All right, so that can sit in there any way you like. But what it'll end up doing is it'll give you these wonderful little dangles that sit out of your journal, if you like. Or, because it's on the bulb pin, it will stay in, tucked in here, just like that. Very quickly, we'll do this belly band. Now, my belly band, all I wanted to do for that was, I just found a scrap of paper that was about the same size, and I only want it in, I don't know, about 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to trim off a piece around about 1/2 inch as my, you know, it's that centimetre, 1/2 inch, something like that. I don't know what it actually is. He's going to be in here, and he's a little bit big. I only need a very tiny amount of him. Let's have a look. Beautiful. What I want to do is put some lace on there. Okay, but I don't want my lace all the way across there because I'm going to lose it. That looks nice, and I like that. But I wanted to use some of this that I had left over. Okay, so you can have this as large or as small. I can just have this little piece in here. That would look nice. My other one, I've got a longer section, but I really like that, and I keep going back to it, don't I? So let's put a big one in there. Let's do that. I'm going to sit that in. I'm going to go to there. I'm going to go to there. And I'm just going to trim a little bit off that top. So what I've got now is this. If I've got any, yes, I've got ink left on that. I love belly bands because you can create pockets on them. You can do all sorts of things. This is going to sit in here like that. So we're going to work out where it goes. Centered, like so. Get your pencil back out again. Make a mark just inside that. And again, just inside that. And we're going to pop our lace from there to where our mark is and there. We don't need the lace going all the way through. So we only need little bits. I'm just going to make sure that my lace is the right way around. Yes. So I'm going to put a little... Oh, I don't know if you can hear those cockatoos or not. But they've come for a party day. So that one will be about that big. And we're going to get our glue again. I must be getting close to... Oh, I think I'm doing so well, and then I just lose it. Hang on a moment. I can't even find that. There's the pencil on. Don't need too much. All right. Starting at the edge. Just lightly pat him down. And do exactly the same on the other side. Come on, glue. Right, now I'll do that glue up. And so for this side, I need a piece. Should have cut that first, shouldn't I? Right. Again, I'll start on my edge. Work my way in. Like so. So now I've just got my lace on each edge. As I said before, I don't need it to go all the way through because it's not being seen anyway. And maybe I need to save my lace. Maybe it's a piece of lace that, you know, I can't live without and I don't want to use too much of. So what we're going to do now is just glue straight in here. You can use any of the glues you like. I've just picked this one up because I'm over the lace glue. Onto there. And we're going to adhere the other one. Going by eye so that we're even top and bottom and even that side, or as close to as you like. How's that? Just while I've got it there. It's fairly straight. Before my glue dries, there we go. Turn it over to make sure you've got no glue popping out the back. And that's just going to be adhered on there. How quick and easy is that for a belly band that matches in with the page next door type thing, but still by giving itself its own little sense of identity. Now you can have your belly band anywhere you like in here. I usually tend to put them in so that they're round about the centre. Again, it's not measured, it's just done. And we've got our 2 pages done. Done and decorated. This one I would use as a journal space. I will probably put something in here. When I'm allowed to stamp again, I would probably have a stamped image going up along here, and then all that could be journaling as well. So, hope you've enjoyed today's. Hope you've enjoyed playing with coffee filters. I will clean up this rather large mess now and very shortly go on to finishing this next one so that we can film that. That will come out on Thursday, which is, hang on a moment. Here, so you can see. There we go. There's this one. There's this one. I actually quite like this one better. There you go. But, you know, it is what it is. So, what we'll need for next time is a selection of envelopes. They don't need to be the same size. If you've only got ones the same size, fine. That'll still work. But it means that they can be just an envelope from here and an envelope from there. Make sure at this stage they fit the book that you're working on. Okay, so they don't go above. We're going to deal with those ones later on. But for this one, we're just going to make sure that they're ones that fit our book, both in width and height. Okay, happy crafting. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I've lost it. There it is. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Hope you've been able to catch up. And thanks, everybody. Till next time. Happy crafting. Bye.